Logos is the icon of the Father, and man is the icon of God. We are the image of God.
Dire Wave
3.
Dire Wave.
3.
All right, baby. We here. Jamie's wearing a onesie.
It's wholesome.
If you say so.
Merry Christmas.
If you do they have a thing on the butt? The little buttons where you
No.
go to the bathroom?
No, but it is a full with pockets
It's
in
a
it.
onesie.
Yeah. Your mom gave it to me 5 years ago. I like it.
Do you feel at home in a baby onesie?
It's warm, that's for sure. It is not breezy. It's very snuggly.
We were just watching the trailer to the Tammy Faye Baker movie, and it was cracking me up because there's a scene with Jerry Falwell in it, and I was just making fun of the moral majority Jerry Falwell on the last live stream.
Yeah.
I thought that was weird timing.
They are a bunch of characters. Huh.
And Andrew Garfield is playing Jim Baker.
Mm-hmm.
And I was cracking up at the same time because on top of that, I had just played the... Where is it at? The classic clip from... No, that's not it. From Vic. Back when Vic was funny. The Jim Baker slop buckets.
Oh, yeah. That is half funny, half disturbing, that video.
I think it's funny. If you've not seen the Jim Baker slop buckets video, it's hilarious. To tie in with the last stream. So, these are not wholesomes. These are the unwholesome creepers of religion. But
Yeah.
interesting characters nonetheless. And we've seen several TV shows and movies coming out about these megachurch people. Righteous Gemstones, by the way, not necessarily wholesome, but very funny. Everything Danny McBride does is funny. And Righteous Gemstones did not let me down. It was a hoot, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
Was it not a hoot?
Mm-hmm.
It was a hoot.
How's the song go?
Misbehaving.
Yeah. Sing it. Teacher said not to.
I said
anyway.
Misbehaving. And the weird part of that is that a lot of that is making fun of the Nashville scene too. So Nashville, it doesn't just have country and Christian music. It also has that hee-haw element to it.
Opry.
And yeah, and the Opryland stuff sometimes overlapped with Southern gospel, which is the worst, right? Step into the water, way down a little bit deeper. Join the angels singing praises to the Lamb of God. Boom, boom, boom. Step into the water, way down a little bit deeper. That is another thing. So in the Bible Belt, there's this thing called Southern Gospel, and it's this weird... I don't know what the origins of it is, but it all overlaps into a cacophony of Nashville sounds somehow.
It's like folksy porch music mixed with Bible, like...
hymns, but I heard that hymns actually were old bar songs.
A lot of them are, yeah.
The tunes started out as ragtime bar songs.
Yeah.
And the Baptists took those and made them into piano hymns. Boring grandma piano hymns. But anyway, if you want a good satire of the righteous, of that whole ethos of TV preacher, Righteous Gemstones was way better than I expected. It's weird. It's a little raunchy. So it's not actually part of the Wholesomes list, but we're going to go to the Wholesomes now. So we've covered so many dark movies, so many mind control movies, so many creeper movies, so many devil movies. So
serial killers and
mafia men.
Halloween.
Why you come to me with this? You come to me with with the wholesome movies. I don't got nothing wholesome.
Right,
Well,
that's The Godfather.
Yeah. This year we did Aliens in the beginning of the year.
Right. January was Alien January.
And then Mafia. And then serial killers.
So we did all Sopranos.
And then dystopias.
Yes.
And so we were kind of burnt out on negative movies. So the whole month of December, we watched nothing but cute, fun, family, wholesome, Christian
and or virtuous
positive,
themed.
virtuous
Yeah.
movies.
So they don't have to just be Christian movies. And we're not going to sit here and do like 5-hour dissections of all of them. We're just going to go through ones that we liked. We went through many. We got quite a list, and we didn't see all of them this year. Some of them we watched last year and just put
a
on
lot
the
of
list.
them happen to be Christmas movies because it was Christmas.
And usually those are kind of wholesome.
Yeah. And so these are just like all of our favorites, and some we didn't get to, and so maybe you can watch them along with us.
Yes, and again, not all of these are explicitly Christian movies, and some of them have some mature themes. So if you expected this is not like just a kid. We're not here to collect kid movies.
They're not all G-rated, but
Yeah,
they're pretty wholesome.
exactly.
So let's start with your favorite holiday movie.
I don't have one favorite,
I
so
think
we have a
this is-
giant list.
This
So
is your new favorite, though.
so Jamie made a list, and I made a list.
Yeah.
And I've got some classics on there. Some of them are ones I grew up with, things that I thought were fun, moving kid movies that I saw back in the day that stuck out and impacted me. Now, I don't like dog movies. I hate dog movies. I think they're so stupid. Jamie loves dog movies, and she's always like bargaining with me to win bets to get me to watch the movies that she wants to watch. So what was the last movie? Tom Hanks band one. I didn't want to watch that. And I lost a bet.
That Thing You Do?
Yes. So I had to watch
He
That
didn't
Thing You
wanna watch
Do.
that.
It wasn't as bad as I expected, though. It was actually
Musicals?
watchable.
I have to win a bet, or dog movies.
Yeah, I don't do either of those. I don't like either one. I can think of like one musical ever I saw that I liked, and I don't remember what it is.
Yeah.
So I don't even know what it is. There's one musical I like, and I don't know what it is.
I like them all. I would even watch Cats because it's a musical, but I heard it's really bad. Anyways, let's
I
get
saw
back
Cats
to-
live,
You
and
did?
I was 18. And when you go to New York, I was amazed that they didn't card you. So I thought it was so cool that I could just buy alcohol. And so I went to Chicago, Cats, and guess what? And Chicago,
Phantom?
Miss Saigon.
Oh.
And because I could buy alcohol at age 18 in New
In
York,
the theater?
yeah, I fell asleep from drinking in all three. I did see the end of Miss Saigon. I actually liked that one, all right. But that was a huge production, like this big helicopter that comes into the set.
Yeah.
It was
Oh,
really,
yeah?
really elaborate.
That's
yeah.
cool. Jay alone in New York City.
No, I wasn't alone. I was with.
I'm making a joke about
group.
Home Alone.
Oh, Home Alone 2?
Yeah.
Doesn't it have Trundle Dump in it?
Yeah.
Where are you going, you lost? Get back. Go back home. Get out of Trump Towers. Wonderful, really. Kevin, wonderful, wandering around. Sent him home.
That's good.
I like how you had no reaction except to just go, it's good.
You made me think he was in Gremlins also. Gremlins
No,
2.
it's Clamp.
Yeah.
It's Clamp Industries and has a big tower. It's a takeoff on Trump. It's not
Right.
Trump. Yeah.
It's not actually him,
But Trump is in Home Alone 2.
yeah.
Like he walks up and tells Kevin to go away or something.
Well, okay,
Okay.
let's
So
start.
what's my
let's
favorite-
talk about Home Alone first then, because that's like pretty much top tier Christmas
Ish.
fun.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I guess
Capers.
we could throw John Hughes into the moderately wholesome camp, sure.
Shout
okay.
out if you love Home Alone. It never gets old. It reminds you of the perfect like age you were in the 90s.
Maybe because you're a little younger than me. So you're closer to my brother's age, I think. So you guys were younger, and you guys would have really loved Home Alone because you would have been closer to Macaulay Culkin's age when it came out. And
Yeah.
I was older, so I was like,
I thought it was a great
is that one of
movie
your favorites?
back then and now. Yeah.
Is it wholesome?
Yeah.
The mom's face in that. She just has such a resting bitch face. I can't stand the mom's face.
And then the sequel it was formulaic, but it was also good. What do you guys think?
Blackout drunk movie reviewer. Yeah, exactly. Except I was at plays, the Broadway plays.
Another Christmas in the trenches. He did such a good job in that.
Wait, who?
Macaulay Culkin.
Oh, I thought you meant.
No,
Yeah, I'm
that's
confused.
a line from the movie.
By the way, you can support the show by sending super chats. I think we've milked everything in terms of like the super chats were just flying in earlier today. I was kind of surprised. Everybody really liked that evangelical preacher critique stream, Megachurch stream. So
Yeah, that was good.
thank you.
To a lot
People like that
more
than I expected. I didn't think anybody would really care about that, but everybody likes those stories. Now, so the movies that, what are we doing? Your favorites or our favorites? You said my favorite. I don't have one favorite.
I thought the top one would be like your new favorite Christmas.
Well, it was last year.
Okay, last year's number one movie was
the most ridiculous thing of all time, and it's Jingle All the Way.
Jingle All the Way.
Because it's actually both genius and terrible at once. I don't know how it does it, but if you watch this movie,
if it was trying to be
laugh.
bad, it went past the.
It came out the other
circle
side.
and
Yeah, we
came
said it
out
became
to
it. Yeah, like the Ouroboros of comedy. It came out the other side, and
It's
somehow
like
these,
a Mobius strip.
exactly. No.
Yeah.
Somehow these Arnold movies do this. I don't know how, but I find myself now as a 40-ish. I don't know how old I am. Somewhere in there in the 40s or something. Early 40s. What am I? 42.
You're like 42.
41? I like Arnold Schwarzenegger movies now. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I never liked any of that stuff really at the time, but they're just so ridiculous. Like his lines are crazy. He's a terrible actor. The lines are ridiculous. Half of it's just him going that, right?
Yes.
And somehow Jingle All the Way is not funny, but it is funny.
Yeah.
It's the most mysterious both and so, and we covered that already. So yes,
It's mystically funny.
Jingle All the Way is up there.
If you have to watch it for two reasons. One, the Santa fight and the midgets
Yes. So
and the elves and the tiny Santa.
right, the midgets are there's tiny Santas instead of elves. The midgets are tiny Santas, and you just have to see it. They were on something making this movie.
And
I don't know what.
He
but
punches a reindeer in the face. So yeah.
it's almost like they're trolling Christmas movies at a higher meta level. It's like a satire of Christmas movies, but then you're watching and you're like, but it can't be that smart because it's also so dumb. But then at times it's like, it seems like it's meta and it's like
And it's got
trolling
Sinbad
Christmas
in it,
movies.
right?
But you know how there's all this weird philosophy in it too, because Arnold is
It's about consumerism.
the consumer, the superhero thing that the kid worships, Anakin from Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
Is a replacement dad figure.
Yes. And Dad always forgets.
Are you an angel? Right.
Yeah.
Are you my dad?
Was the Mega Man or what?
No, it's like something stupid. It's
I
even
want
dumber than
the-
that. Yeah. The
ZXC.
the consumer bot guy,
No, I
robot
want
guy.
to know.
Anyway,
Keep going.
So, that one's still up there. It's just too much fun because it's so ridiculous and bad, but also good somehow. Just Friends is better than I expected. This was a mom recommendation, and whenever your mom tells you, "Oh, you got to watch this," you're like, "Oh no." All right, but actually, this was pretty good.
Turbo Man.
Turbo Man.
I want a Turbo Man.
Mm-hmm.
Turbo Man.
Yeah.
Say
I can't now.
it.
You
You get the Turbo Man
put me on
doll.
the spot, but Just Friends is fun. It's a good 2010-ish comedy.
Anna Faris is funny.
Yeah, and Ryan Reynolds is pretty good.
Yeah.
Just for wholesome-ish. I mean, there's a little bit of raunch, but it's overall wholesome.
Your mom's favorite is Dusty, the perfect.
He's a funny
guy.
character.
Yeah.
He's a funny character. Yeah.
Just Friends is pretty funny.
And there's some funny scenes in it. Ryan Reynolds is actually funny in that. It's a well written, and there's not many. I mean, Christmas comedies. There's not
with
many.
fake fat suits and stuff like that. Yeah.
I actually thought Vince Vaughn was kind of funny in Four Christmases. I didn't expect, I like Vince Vaughn, but I just didn't expect this movie to be any good.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say it's good. It's
This
kind,
is one-
it's kind of raunchy too, but
We just watched and I hadn't seen it before. It's got Reese
Vince Vaughn's
Witherspoon
kind of funny.
and Vince Vaughn.
He's kind of funny.
So they're happily unmarried is the premise.
Mm-hmm.
And then by the end of it, they break up and decide to get married. After visiting all their families.
The only thing I liked about it was just Vince Vaughn's one-liners and jokes.
Yeah.
He's pretty good in this.
Yeah.
I mean, other than that, you like Reese Witherspoon. I don't really have any opinion on Reese Witherspoon.
I like her okay. I like
What's your favorite Reese Witherspoon movie?
probably Sweet Home Alabama. That's not a Christmas movie though.
No. That's the archetypal rom-com story of sophisticated city person ends up back home, and will they fall in love with the rube of the hometown?
We talked about
That's
that for
what
Valentine's Day. I
Just
think.
Friends is that.
Yeah.
Remember, because Ryan Reynolds comes back home
Yeah.
from being formerly a fat nerdy dude, and now he's a record executive, and will he fall in love with Amy Smart? Right.
Yeah. Well, no, he was already in love with her.
Will he get her? I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay, so one of my top 3 probably holiday movies would be While You Were Sleeping. You remember that one?
Bill Pullman,
Sandra Bullock.
Sandra Bullock. Yeah.
It's a perfect Christmas rom-com. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. The cast was perfect. The family was perfect.
Is it right on your Wholesome?
Yeah.
Is it
Oh,
Wholesome?
yeah. It's like top tier. Gold tier.
Wholesome.
Wholesome
Okay.
Christmas.
Oh, that's a good one.
It's got one-liners.
For you, for
yeah.
girls.
Yes, for girls.
I don't pick the rom-coms, so very rarely do I like these.
But you like that one.
I like the Vince Vaughn one, okay, and I liked...
Did you like While You Were Sleeping?
It was okay. I mean, for that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
What was that one with Jude Law and Jack Black? That one was a weird one.
Oh,
That wasn't Wholesome.
The Holiday.
That didn't make the Wholesome list.
The Holiday.
Holiday.
Yeah. Not...
It wasn't a bad movie, but it was like him crying at the end. That was just so...
Oh,
it was
yeah.
cringe,
That was
dude.
really dumb.
That was so cringe. He's the sensitive editor who cries to get...
Yeah. He's a widower, single dad, and Cameron Diaz is the business
is his match,
lady.
yes.
And she never cried. That was really dumb.
Yeah, she never cried, and then he cries for her. It was so stupid.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I mean, in these rom-coms, this is girl domain, dude. I'm just.
I don't like every
eh.
rom-com. Some are really stupid.
I know you don't.
But...
Is there any more wholesomes? Now, some of the 40s and 50s rom-coms, the black and white silver screen era, some of those they're not funny, but they're good movies. You know, some of these Barbara Stanwyck ones were pretty good.
What's the... Katharine Hepburn and Cary Grant did a lot of rom-coms.
Yes, Charade is pretty good, and it's a wholesome.
Philadelphia Story.
Yeah, that one's a wholesome. That's a kind of a classic one.
Shop Around the Corner.
Yeah, we watched that last year, and you said isn't that one of the ones that's remade with...
You've Got Mail is a remake of Shop Around the Corner.
I've never even seen You've Got Mail.
Which Shop Around the Corner's got Floopy.
There's a little bit of Jimmy Stewart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jamie calls people these names she makes up, so she calls him Floopy because he seems like a floopy man, whatever that means.
That's just the word that describes
Pops
him.
in your head
Yeah,
when you see...
he's so floopy.
Don't call me Floopy. Oh, now, Midge. Get off of there. Anyway.
Okay, how about... What are your feelings about Lord of the Rings? That's not technically a Christmas movie,
Oh,
but
that's
it
a
is
classic.
wholesome.
No, it is a Christmas movie.
But they did come out at Christmas.
No, it is. In my mind, that's a Christmas movie. They always came out
Yeah.
Christmas. I remember going to the theater right around Christmas time to see them.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, those are like obvious ones.
We had a tradition to go to Idlewild in the mountains to their one screen theater and see Lord of the Rings every time it came out.
Yeah. I mean, there are some criticisms of the Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings. We did a whole episode 2 episodes, I think, 1 or 2 of Hollywood Decoded. We did that. So I'm not going to do a whole breakdown of Lord of the Rings. In the future, we'll probably do a better breakdown. But yeah, that's a classic, obvious one.
My only complaint about Lord of the Rings is their stupid big feet, their Hobbit shoes.
You can tell they're rubber and they bounce.
Yeah, yes, they don't walk right.
Mr. Frodo, my feet are rubber.
They could
Where
have
are my
done
feet?
without
My
that.
feet are bouncing, Mr. Frodo. Sam, your feet, Sam! They're taking the hobbits to get new shoes.
And they
They're taking the hobbits to
they
Isengard.
just looked gross. Didn't they? And fake. I hated them.
Dun, 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 dun.
How about the most classic of all Christmas movies, It's a Wonderful Life? You like that one?
It's okay. I think it's a little overrated. I mean, it's not a bad movie. But any of these ones, I didn't put on my list any of the ones that have been regurgitated and mandated every year. I don't care about Christmas Story. I saw it too many. By the time I was 10 years old, I had seen it too many times.
Oh, is that the one with the little rifle?
The Red Rider.
I only saw that once, and I didn't care for it. I didn't.
When it got to the point where remember TBS, TNT? Remember that? They would play Christmas Story on repeat 24/7, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. They would do it, and I mean, that's just like, oh man, that's too much. So I don't have Miracle on 34th Street. I don't have It's a Wonderful Life. I didn't put any of those. I wanted some other things, right?
Yeah.
So we weren't looking for Christmas movies that we had not seen, and I did enjoy some of these old ones, the Barbara Stanwyck ones. Those were good.
2 Christmases ago, we watched all the Narnias and the
they're okay.
Prince Caspians.
Yeah, they're wholesome.
Yeah.
They're wholesome.
That was fun.
That was before Disney was total, SJ, right? I mean, it was still, there was still some wholesomes. And yeah, Narnia was okay.
What about Family Man with Nicolas Cage? You like that one?
It's okay. Yeah, it has a good message. Every now and then, Nick Cage is in a wholesome, and that one's pretty good.
So that's a Scrooge story.
Right.
So Christmas Carol is like a whole subgenre of Christmas
That's a
movies.
good point. Yeah, a lot of 2 or 3 of the Barbara Stanwyck ones are versions of the Scrooge story.
And so this year we watched The Man Who Invented Christmas with Matthew from Downton Abbey.
Yeah, what's his face, dude? Yeah,
Charles Dickens. So I thought that was interesting. He was like a rock star of his time.
that was not the movie I expected.
He was going on tour and touring his books, like Oliver Twist and stuff. And then he's like, "You haven't had a hit." He's like, "I can write a hit," and it kind of shows that maybe he was like bipolar or like.
Yeah, the movie goes in this weird direction where he's got like multiple and alters DID going on in his head. I'm not joking. Like, you're watching this movie and Matthew from Downton Abbey has got like multiple personalities in his head, and they're the Christmas Carol characters, and he has this mental breakdown. I'm like, this is like a mind control movie. How does this is crazy. Which, by the way, Matthew also plays a mind control super soldier assassin in that. It's actually a good movie, The Guest. Remember that? Mm-hmm. That was really good. I did not expect that movie to be as good as it is, and they even mentioned the CIA MK Ultra super assassin stuff in the screenplay. That's actually a really good movie. I highly recommend The Guest. It's not a wholesome. It's a violent, crazy thing. But The Man Who Invented Christmas? Mm-hmm. It was Christmas Ghosts, right? This is like a whole other genre.
Yeah.
Of a bunch of movies. And
Scrooged. Bill Murray is like that. And then the Christmas Carol itself has like 20 film adaptations of it.
Yeah, I've seen one of those. That's it. That's enough. Now, but this one with Matthew from Downton Abbey was pretty good. I mean, it was not the movie I expected it to be. So if you're thinking you're getting a wholesome, just Christmas story, it's not exactly that. I wouldn't say it's not wholesome, but it's kind of dark. I mean, it has a good ending, but he's the
way
Scrooge.
They
He's the Scrooge
his,
character.
Creativity, which was also a little mental illness, was pretty realistic.
Right. He's basically Scrooge is like an altar in his head. It's crazy. But,
yeah.
It was definitely
his
interesting.
creative process kind of hints towards maybe he had like some.
Right.
Something's going on.
The madness of the artist.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I would say, actually, I give that one a thumbs up.
Yeah. So Family Man is derivative of
Scrooge.
Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so Barbara Stanwyck movies. There was 2 or 3. She always plays like a thief or a...
She's a cunning, sassy woman who has to change her ways.
Yes. She's like a con man with a heart of gold or something. So Christmas in Connecticut was one that we watched.
Yes, that was a wholesome, good message. That's if you're looking for a good, wholesome Christmas classic, old time that's one.
I like how in the 40s and 50s, two people meet and they're like, are you single? Yeah. Are you single? Yeah. You want to get married? Yeah. Boom. Like, 60 years they're married.
This is where boomers came from. I mean, they were promoting this stuff in the post-war period because they wanted to grow the population. They wanted to promote consumerism.
Mm-hmm.
And so baby boom comes out of this, and you notice it in the movies. They're actually promoting, you know, because war movies are everywhere in the 40s and 50s, right? War. And then oftentimes it's these plot lines of the soldiers coming back home. Remember Greatest Years of Our Life? That's one of these where the soldier comes home and he can't find work because he's been a soldier for 5 years and he's got to be a soda jerk. You'll end up a soda jerk. That's all you're going to ever be. And then his girl leaves him, remember?
Yeah.
And so then he has to fall in love with some other homely person and it works out. But the point was get married, have kids. Imagine Hollywood promoting, go to church, get married, have kids, be a family. It's crazy to watch the 40s. And there's a lot of edgy racist stuff that is pretty funny in the 40s, 50s movies.
Yeah.
And now those things are being like edited out and banned.
I like how they always have their preacher on like speed dial or, you know, he'll be here in 5 minutes. You want to get married? Yeah. You know, like it's just boom. We met, fell in love, got married, and that was yesterday.
It is crazy how different I mean, it is kind of propaganda that's in these movies. And especially at that time, just the war propaganda in film was just way over the top. I mean, It was all the time. And that goes all the way back to the 20s with World War I, but with Howard Hawks. Howard Hughes. But these rom-coms, you can tell they have, you know, wholesome messages, but they're also kind of a propaganda.
So, Holiday Affair with Janet Leigh was kind of like Christmas in Connecticut in that she had two suitors that she had to pick one.
I didn't like this one as much. I mean, she's not a very... Hitchcock uses her, but she's kind of a boring character and actress. Barbara Stanwyck is just she's sassy.
Definitely more suited for
and she sings
a
and she
movie.
dances and one thing, yeah, exactly. Like the 40s era was still in that time period where they expected actors and actresses to be able to act and to sing and to dance and to play instruments. Like you were expected to do all that, which is pretty wild because, I mean, that means that you were basically committing your life to the arts. And so you would have had to spend, you know, all of your early lifetime learning all of these arts to do all these things. So in one sense, I think that I appreciate that early 40s, 50s era where they were really talented in that way, 30s too. And that eventually gets lost because then it turns into just the era when it was just the names that drew people.
Right.
Right? Like the big... You know, people go see a Cary Grant movie just because Cary Grant's in it, right? Which, not that they're all bad. I mean, he's in a lot of good movies, but it's just weird these phases that Hollywood goes through where there's these different decades that you know have these weird themes like this. But there's some really wild productions. Like what's that one that guy was recommending? I always speculate that it was Martin Scorsese that was sending us these recommendations because it was.
Oh, that big.
It was all these Martin Scorsese movies, and it was like an anonymous dude emailing me all these suggestions, and I'm like, "Who is this person?" Remember, he had like encyclopedic knowledge of movies, and he's like, "You need to watch this." And it was all these Martin Scorsese movies, and I was like, "Is this Martin Scorsese?" I don't know, but probably not.
We have a lot of.
I have them all listed down, but Red Shoes is one of those, and that was that really weird, trippy. I don't know how to describe it. It's like a musical. Performance art, it's really, really weird.
Is it pretty avant-garde?
For the time, absolutely. But it was, what I'm getting at is that, like, you were expected to have all of these skills and talents.
Like Barbara Stanwyck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's good in Fireball with Gary Cooper. She's good in Christmas in Connecticut. What's the other one?
Remember the Night?
And that one is the one with the lawyer.
She's the thief.
Yes, that one was good.
And
Remember
who's
the
the
Night?
man in that one?
He was a famous 40s dude. I forget his name. Really tall dude. I forget his name.
Oh yeah, and he had to like take her home for Christmas.
Yeah.
And she was a prisoner on trial, and he was her lawyer or something like. He was the prosecuting lawyer.
Yeah, it's interesting that the 40s, 50s, not as much esoteric symbolism. Some films did. Some of the the noir films had esoteric stuff that I've talked about. Some of them had some symbolism. I think maybe Glass Key. What's the one with Bogey? With like some of the Veronica Lake noir films have dark esoteric stuff, but
Hitchcock.
yes, and some of the Hitchcock definitely.
Yeah.
But on the whole, most of those movies in that time, in that period, were just these sort of pretty much face value tales, right? Mm-hmm. Which is interesting because they're still appealing, they're still good, but they're not. They don't have a lot of depth to them. Is what I'm trying to say. But they're still good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. In the old movies, they talk so fast though. Like they try and squeeze in so much dialogue.
That was a thing, especially in the noir, was to have the snappy dialogue, to have the funny retorts and the witty riposte. And if you could write really well, that was supposedly what you were trying to do, was to have that, right? I mean, but a lot of those, that's when they started experimenting with these kind of weirder, darker movies like Sunset Boulevard and which these are not wholesome. So these are what's the one that we just watched with
Baby Jane?
Yes, that one was
Whatever
crazy.
happened to Baby Jane? That was crazy.
Super dark, not
Yeah.
wholesome, but wow.
Yeah.
Just like Sunset Boulevard, too, by the way, which is hugely influential for darker avant-garde stuff later, David Lynch, etc. So let's get back to wholesome list. So yeah, I definitely was impressed with most of the Barbara Stanwyck selections. They were pretty good.
The Lady Eve.
That's the one where her
she's
dad's a con
art.
man. Yeah, another
And
one.
Hopsy.
Yeah.
She
This
calls
one
him
was
Hopsy.
bizarre. I mean, because the guy was so this was more romantic comedy. Mm-hmm. And it had a weird ending, but it was still good. It was still good.
What about The Robe and Ben-Hur?
These are kind of classic Hollywood Christianish movies. I mean, The Robe is about a relic basically who converts. The relic basically converts this Roman soldier guy. So it's kind of a classic movie. Quo Vadis is another one of these classic Hollywood Christian-ish movies. Ben-Hur isn't explicitly Christian. I still like Ben-Hur. Now, Cecil B. DeMille was... You can tell he's influenced by his Freemasonry and his he's kind of a deist. I don't know how serious about Christianity he was, but I still think, basically speaking, you can enjoy Ten Commandments, Quo Vadis, Ben-Hur as, more or less wholesome movies.
I like the Moses one. What's that one?
Ten Commandments.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Some of the older Hollywood Bible adaptations are not that great. Like
who's the bald guy that plays the Pharaoh in that?
I just went blank. Super famous. Yul Brynner.
Yeah, he did a really good job.
The Samson is not very good. I mean,
Samson
it's
and
watchable,
Delilah?
but it's
Yeah.
cheesy. But not all of the old Hollywood Bible adaptations are good. Some of them are cheesy. Not very
I
good.
like some of the nativity movies. The latest nativity was pretty
Yeah, they're
good.
okay. I mean, the one with one of the Fine, Joseph Fine.
Yes.
Yeah, that one's okay. The Esther
The
movie
Book of
is
John
okay.
was good. movie.
Yeah, I think Desmond from Lost, who plays Jesus in the Book of John, what I like about that is basically the entirety of the Gospel of John. And yeah, I mean, Jesus movies can be critiqued because you can make a kind of an argument that these are not the best idea, but I think the Book of John is actually okay. It's pretty good for what it is. So that one's a wholesome if you're looking for, and that's on YouTube. You can watch the Desmond from Lost as playing Jesus. He's not bad. He does okay in it. But
I like how every line is just the verse from the Bible. That's my favorite part.
yeah, it's just the Book of John, which is pretty good. I appreciate that, and it has good production value, good acting. It was well made. Everybody talks about The Chosen, which is an ongoing series about the disciples. I've never seen it, so everybody says it's good. I trust that it is. But Yeah, I do like these classic Hollywood, Bible Christian movies. They're okay. Ten Commandments, Ben-Hur, Quo Vadis, The Robe. Is there another one? I think I had some on my list.
Prince of Egypt.
Becket is pretty good. I mean, pure chaos. Peter O'Toole playing the evil king of England who basically murders Richard Burton, playing his friend, because Richard Burton, when he becomes Archbishop of Canterbury, has a conversion experience and he becomes a sincere Christian. And of course, this leads to the famous martyrdom of Thomas Becket. That's kind of in that ambiguous period where, I mean, I hope Thomas Becket is in heaven, but I'm not exactly sure if they had the filioque there at that point, so it's kind of gray area. But it's actually a good story, though. If you've not seen Becket with Peter O'Toole and Richard Burton, it's a good movie. It's a good Christian film overall. What's next? So are we going down? Let's go down.
There were some that
we didn't get to it. It's okay.
We didn't get to them. The Holly and the Ivy looked interesting.
I haven't seen it.
It's an old one. Holiday Inn, White Christmas, and Miracle on 34th Street. Okay, so one of those, I don't really like Santa movies.
I don't either.
Oh, but I
don't like Fred Astaire dancing stuff.
I like Rifftrax Santa movies.
Yes, we did enjoy some good Rifftrax. And I've seen all of them now. So
Mystery Science Theater, Rifftrax, Santa movies.
Right.
Are the
and
funny.
Both Mystery Science Theater and Rifftrax have pretty much done the same ones, and they're all good. I mean, I've seen them all now.
And we watched Rifftrax Twilight. It was hilarious.
That's a classic. I mean, that's probably one of their most well-known.
I can't remember laughing so hard at. We had to watch all.
We watched all of them. Like, we watched all the Rifftrax Twilights.
Yeah.
I mean, all 6 of those pieces of garbage, dude.
Just because the jokes were so
I mean, wow, dude. If you've never seen... So, don't watch Twilight. Obviously, that's garbage. But if you want to laugh really hard, try to watch all of the Rifftrax, all 6 Twilights. I mean, it is funny.
Yeah.
And that was fun. But Rifftrax, Santa Claus Conquers the Martians, Santa Claus and the Ice Cream Bunny, Santa Claus Summer House, that one. I mean, all of those.
Oh yeah,
are
Santa's
great.
Summer House.
And by the way, they're on Tubi. If you want to watch them for free, they're all on Tubi. So you can just type in Rifftrax and all the Santas come up. They're all great. But let's get back. So what's more of our wholesomes? And those are fairly wholesome, right? I mean, Rifftrax is fairly wholesome.
Yeah.
For funny things.
Well, oh man, except for the last Twilight with the love scene, man, that was pretty hard to watch.
I mean, it doesn't show anything. It's just awful.
Yeah.
I mean, like cringe, dude.
Okay.
But where are we at here?
The Bishop's Wife, Preacher's Wife. What do you like? Do you like those?
It's okay. I mean, David Niven and who is it? Ingrid Bergman?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay for an old movie, but it's kind of boring.
Did you like the new one with Whitney Houston? No.
I didn't watch that.
Oh. It was alright. How about Trading Places?
That's a fairly wholesome,
Actually,
80s.
No, Jamie Lee Curtis is a prostitute.
Well, but see, that can still be on the wholesome list, even if it has a mature theme.
Okay.
So
because they get married at the end.
Well, I think the overall message of Trading Places is good.
Okay.
It's basically an anti-greed message.
Right.
Just like
it's a Scrooge derivative, or is it? He has to have a moment.
It's the Mark Twain story of the Trading Places.
Okay.
Right, where the Connecticut Yankee and the King's Court, is that it?
Oh.
Where they trade places. The king and the poor man trade places.
Connecticut Yankee and King Arthur's Court.
The rich guy and the king and the poor man trade places.
Yes.
Basically.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think it fits in the... It's fairly wholesome. Did we do that one? What is that one? Fifth Avenue?
It happened on Fifth Avenue.
What is that one?
A Christmas movie, an older one.
Did we do it?
No.
Okay, I've never seen that. Gremlins is not really wholesome. I mean, it's not bad, but it doesn't make the wholesome list.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, they're just basically demons. I mean,
Yeah.
anyway.
How about
What was... No, hold on, we gotta finish this.
Planes, Trains,
Let's just go down there. I like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. That's a classic 80s movie that has a good message. And, you know, a lot of the 80s comedies don't really hold up, but some of them are okay. And then this is a John Hughes. And John Candy plays the annoying homeless dude. Steve Martin helps him out. And I think... What's the one with Zach Galifianakis and Robert Downey Jr. that's funny? It's not wholesome, but it's...
The baby one? Where they have to get to a baby.
No, it's just Zach Galifianakis gets a ride with Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah,
home.
he has to get back to his girlfriend.
Yeah, that's a remake of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think they're both pretty funny, but Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is relatively wholesome. So that one counts as a good holiday movie.
I liked What About Bob?
Yes, we watched that. It still held up. Bill Murray is still funny in that. The contrast between him and Richard Dreyfuss. And ultimately has a good message. That's a wholesome, I would say. I mean, not all the wholesomes are Christmas or Christian themed. They can just have, positive messages too. White Christmas, Holiday Inn. We didn't see those. I don't care about musicals. I'm not interested in musicals. What is that? I can't see what that says.
Sasquatch Gang?
I think Napoleon Dynamite, Gentleman Broncos, Sasquatch Gang, all the Jared Hess movies, I really think they're funny. I think he's really funny.
I think they're really funny.
I like Masterminds. It's not so much wholesome, but it's still very funny.
When
Pretty much anything he does, I think is great. That's my type of humor.
Who's the guy from Fly the Conchords?
Jermaine?
Anything he is in is really funny.
Yes. Eagle versus Shark is funny, but it doesn't really fit in the wholesomes. But that's an overlooked Jermaine classic independent film that's funny. But What About Bob? So if you're looking for wholesome-ish comedies, which is rare, most Jared Hess films are pretty good.
Mm-hmm. They're quirky. Right.
Weird, eccentric, quirky
Yeah.
humor. Yeah. I mean, those are classics. So let's do some more of these here.
Groundhog Day?
I would say Groundhog Day counts as wholesome. It's a lot more philosophical than most people think. We've done two, pretty in-depth dissections of Groundhog Day. Everybody really likes those analyses. That's a classic. Does it take place in Christmas or is it?
No, it's like February.
Oh, that's right, because
it's Groundhog
it's
Day.
Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
But isn't there like snow and
Yeah.
doesn't he kiss Andy McDowell at some point?
Yeah, they make like snowmen, so it's like Christmas Eve.
Ish. Okay.
It's in the Christmas neighborhood.
But it's also just a wholesome film overall. I mean, it has a good message, so we can include that. What's next?
Casablanca?
I don't know about this one. I mean, it's not a bad. It's a
not
good movie. But it's propaganda in a lot of ways. But it's also, it's just famous. I don't know. It's not really wholesome. Does it have a good message? Yeah, it's looking at you, kid. I mean, maybe. I don't know. That was debatable.
Okay. How about Gladiator?
I would say, I mean, it's violent,
Yeah.
which doesn't really bother me. Movie being, I mean, I don't like excessive, like over the top, nasty stuff, but I mean, there's violent stories in the Bible, so I mean, I think overall the attitude of Gladiator is virtue, honor, sacrifice. So yes, I would say
Bravery.
Yeah, I would say it makes the wholesome cut.
It's kind of like Braveheart.
Yeah. Of course, Braveheart's a classic. Sure.
Yeah.
Which is also violent, but it makes the cut, obviously, as a wholesome classic. Every dude loves Braveheart, so sure. I think a lot of Mel Gibson movies are pretty good. I mean, Apocalypto, even though it's violent, the message is good because the human sacrifice cult, basically comes to an end because as they run away at the end, right, they see the Spanish coming, and so for all the faults of Spanish Catholicism, it's definitely better than what's there. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. So I would include these as positive, wholesome message movies, sure.
You put Milo and Otis.
I don't like dog movies, but if I'm going to have to pick an animal dog movie, as a kid, yes, I enjoyed Milo and Otis. And then what's the other one? Homeward Bound.
Homeward Bound.
Those
Yeah,
are the
that's a
two
classic.
animal movies
I
that
like
are
it.
okay. But there's some more. Mel Gibson has some other wholesomes. The Passion. I mean, I want to like The Passion, but there's elements of it that, as Orthodox, I'm kind of not a fan of. But at the same time, I appreciate The Passion, and I appreciate that he's going to make the resurrection. So, big hopes for the resurrection. I think that'll be good. What do you think?
Yeah, that sounds really good. How about...
What about these here? We did that one. I've never seen that. We did that. A lot of people like Straight Story, which is weird because people don't expect David Lynch to do a wholesome movie. And then he does this totally out of place story about the old guy who wants to reconcile. And so he can't get his driver's license, so he has to drive a lawnmower across
the
the
lawnmower
country
guy. Yeah.
to reconcile with his brother's dying. So it's a classic wholesome movie that everybody, even kids, like this movie. David Lynch. That's an unexpected David Lynch movie, right? I like The Journey of Natty Gann. I watched it as a kid, and I thought it was a good... That was back when Disney would kind of make wholesomes. And it's one of John Cusack's first movie. When you go back and watch it now, there's some weird, like, communist stuff in it, which is odd because you don't typically think of Disney having sort of pro-communist messages. And I'm not trying to have no lack of nuance, because I know that during the Depression, one of the reasons that socialism, unions and all that stuff became popular was precisely because the elite were, manipulating crash in the stock market. We know that was done as an intentional manipulation. So I understand why people adopted socialism and communism, and that's not really the plot of the movie. But it's weird. It's just odd that it keeps coming up. And it's a weird story because she goes through this journey to go back to her dad, if you've never seen it. And she ends up in a child labor camp, mind control facility. That's really weird. That was bizarre.
This is a Disney movie, so you're going to have hobo dog fights. And...
Is that in Disney movies?
No,
Or just train.
I'm being
This is the hobo
facetious.
genre. All right, so we... like was it Green Feathers or Exposing Powerful Lies? One of the Exposing Powerful Lies, I was like, hey, I know all the hobo movies. I didn't even realize there's a genre of hobo movies, but
yeah.
This counts as one. And so John Cusack is playing a hobo train hopper.
She has to go to a dog fight, and then she goes to an orphanage prison industrial complex.
Yeah, that was the weirdest part. And sneaks out. She sneaks out.
You can't say that on YouTube. Are we on YouTube or Rockfin?
We're on YouTube. What word? Oh, she has a creeper who tries to creep on her.
Yeah.
Which is odd. Now, I mean, these aren't kids. This is a teen movie. This is an early teen Disney movie.
Her first kiss was with very much older John Cusack.
I don't really see this as PEDO. It's supposed to be an innocent thing in the story. I don't really see. I mean, it has some mature themes, but this is a wholesome story.
It was interesting to watch a movie that you remember as wholesome to see actually what's going on in it. You know what I mean? But I did like all the animals in it.
You don't think it was wholesome? I mean, the whole message is that
but
she finds her dad and they reunite.
But there was some traumatic things, like we were just talking about, like abusive orphanage.
Yeah, but that's in
hobo dog.
Yeah, but you can go back to Grimm's fairy tales, and that has traumatic things in it.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
I mean, I think part of the reason that as kids get older, the teen stories have a little more advanced themes because you're preparing the teenagers to encounter these things that they're going to encounter as an adult. You can't protect kids as if they're never going to encounter these things. It's just unrealistic, right? So they need to be, on the one hand, prepared for the realities of the adult world, yet at the same time not bombarded with degeneracy, right? And so what the exact balance is there, I don't know, but I don't think this is a propaganda movie. I think it's a wholesome message overall.
I'm looking for my dad.
And I mean, to be fair, I mean, the working class, I could totally see why the working class people would be joining socialist and union causes when the elite of that time were totally degenerate and destroying through the engineered stock market and the Federal Reserve. It was a big scam. So, right. I mean, I could see why
during
people,
the Depression.
yeah, exactly. And that was engineered. That's what I'm saying, is that I can see why people join those movements, and we can be fair to those people because they didn't know that even back then, the unions were being bought off by, especially the Rockefellers. People don't know that. But the Rockefellers like to brag about the fact that they had control of the unions by, I don't remember what decade, but eventually they basically controlled all the unions. So you get screwed over if you're the poor guy, basically, is the point here. So, but Journey of Natty again is good despite some of the ambiguous messages there. Hold on.
A Disney I had never even heard of, so.
I saw it at some point as a kid, and it had an impact on me. And I remember being like, "Hey, that's John Cusack as a kid. Like he looks like he's like 15 in the movie."
How about Prince of Egypt? That's one of my favorite.
That's a wholesome, man. I'll say that's a wholesome.
It's got a kickin' soundtrack, man.
I don't like that. I didn't like Boyz II Men.
I like them.
Are they on that? Is they sing on? Do they sing on it?
Yeah. Mariah Carey sings on it.
That's why you like it.
On it.
Michelle Pfeiffer?
Yeah.
Can she sing?
Yeah.
Who's the best Hollywood singer? Kate Hudson?
She's pretty good.
That's not a singer.
Yeah, she's way better than you think. Michelle Pfeiffer's good. I think Sandra Bullock's on it.
She sings?
She's a voice in that. And she has a song.
Huh.
Val Kilmer.
He sings?
I'm not sure. But he plays the voice.
So, yeah, Prince of Egypt's on it. Book of Eli, yes. Dystopian movie, which will be in the Dystopia series, which has a quasi-Christian theme. I think it's all right. What do you think?
Yeah.
Pretty good. Now, 2 Russian movies that I recommend that are worth watching. One of them is on YouTube. It's called The Island. I recommend it. I think it's great. It's about Fool for Christ at Russian Orthodox Monastery. No, we're not talking about the Michael Bay movie, The Island. This is a totally different movie. Russian movie, The Island, has subtitles. And most of the movie takes place in the Russian Orthodox Monastery. Basically, the plot is that there's this kind of goofy, eccentric, crazy guy, half crazy guy. But he's Fool for Christ. And then the other guy can't stand him because he's like a Pharisee, right? So the whole movie is this battle between them two and the Pharisee dude trying to get rid of the Fool for Christ monk. And the Fool for Christ monk is actually a good guy. And I won't spoil the story for you, but it's another one of those, Christian themed redemption type stories. So it has a good message. Highly recommend that. Rublev is a classic, not explicitly Christian, but it's the history of the Russian people told in these different vignettes, 10 different sections. A lot of debate about what this movie is about. Andrei Rublev is kind of the main character, but doesn't have but a few lines, which is odd. And it kind of skips around in different periods of history in Russia and then ends with them trying to construct this big bell. The bell is symbolic in a lot of ways of both the history of Russia, the Russian people, and the Soviets, because this was put out under the period when it was still the Soviet Union. Tarkovsky was kind of the preeminent Soviet filmmaker, one of the most famous filmmakers of all time. By the way, hopefully, working on it, we should have an interview in the next year with his son. So my priest is friends with Andrei Tarkovsky's son. And so we're looking to have that interview. That's going to be fun, but we got to watch a bunch more of his. Now, I've seen a lot of the films. I've not seen every. I've seen Solaris. I've seen Stalker. I've seen Rublev. I don't care for Solaris. But anyway, we got a bunch more we got to see and deconstruct and analyze in a fuller way. But if you're looking for kind of a history of Russia in symbolic form, definitely watch Rublev, but it's very long. Stalker is very long. I would not put Stalker in the wholesome list. Rublev makes wholesome. Stalker is not wholesome. It's bizarre. It's difficult. It's dark. It's good. Very debated, right? And most of Tarkovsky's films end up being highly influential for all cinema throughout the whole world, right? Hollywood too. So they're very important in the same way as Kubrick's very important, right? But Rublev is wholesome. I don't know about the other ones. They're not on the wholesome list. The Island is wholesome. Russian Ark, that's another one. A lot of people come point to that as wholesome. And there's some other Russian and foreign films that I think we could get to down the road to analyze that. There's a movie, it didn't get good critical reviews, but there's like a Viking account of Prince Vladimir. We could probably do the Sergei Eisenstein about Alexander Nevsky. There's some of those that we could do, but what else? Any more wholesomes?
Oh, Dutch. Do you like that one? Or is that?
It's a little raunchy in some parts, but it's actually still pretty funny. It's the last John Hughes comedy, I think it is. So that was sort of the end of the 80s classic John Hughes movies. And I think it's 1990-91, but it's actually it's pretty good. It's a comedy that holds up pretty well. So if you're looking for, I wouldn't say wholesome, but just John Hughes-ish comedy, I would say it stands up.
I think we had a lot of fun doing this just because the wholesome movies were relaxing, and I guess it just goes without saying, if you don't watch the violent and the trashy and the esoteric.
We don't really watch trashy movies.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like we're sitting there watching Silk Stockings and like USA Up All Night trashy movies. No, but
things that have to do with the subject matter that we have to talk about.
Right. Yeah.
So
somebody said Nightmare Before Christmas. Yeah, I mean, you might could throw that in there. I like it. I think it's pretty amazing from a creative, technical standpoint.
We watched a whole video on the making of that.
Yeah, I watched a making of, which is pretty wild.
It took them 3 years to do that.
And that's in the Christmas ghost genre,
oh,
right?
Yeah. Creepy Christmas. Danny Elfman, man.
Yeah.
He needs help.
I am Danny Elfman now. I am doing Danny Elfman songs. Doing Danny Elfman. Right?
Getting creepier and
Getting
creepier.
creepier and creepier. Creepy now.
That's Danny Elfman.
Ooh. Right?
Yeah. Oh, don't you go.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, Danny Elfman is super talented, but kind of a scary dude. Like, you look at that guy, you're like, and have you seen he's buff now?
Oh, really?
Yeah, so
That's
it's like,
scary.
man, that dude could looks like he's gonna beat me up and eat me. Right? I am going to eat you now. I am Danny Elfman, and I'm buff, and I'm going to eat you now.
Ooh.
Yeah, right.
Weird science. Ooh.
But I mean, yeah, Nightmare Before Christmas is pretty amazing, actually. The more I think about the movie, it's been a few years since I've watched it. But if it counts as the wholesome, I'll grant you that one. I remember the plot basically, but I don't remember if it's. Is it a wholesome? I'm not sure.
Anything but CGI.
It's not
That's
CGI.
stupid. I know. That's what I'm saying. Like.
That's why that's good. Is it is before all this garbage CGI everywhere.
CGI.
Just vomiting pixels everywhere at me all the time. If I want to play a video game, I'll play a video game, right? If I want to see a movie, don't vomit pixels at me nonstop. Anyway, we got a few super chats here. You want to read that one there first?
Marius $5. What do you think of David Bentley Hart? Is he really an Eastern Orthodox?
So I think David Bentley Hart early on started out, as many people do, as sincere in their orthodoxy, and then he went total left. And whatever reasons he decided to do that, he became the champion of universalism. So no, I don't think universal salvation is compatible with 3 consecutive ecumenical councils. The 5th, 6th, and 7th councils pretty much condemn that view consistently. So you can't be orthodox and reject the teaching of 3 ecumenical councils. So no, that one.
Zgrom $40. Please review Michael Mann's The Keep. Also, Terrence Malick's A Hidden Life 2019 is a wonderful Christmas movie. Okay.
Thank you. There's some new Wholesomes. I trust that they're Wholesomes. I haven't seen The Keep or Hidden Life. I know that a lot of people have a lot of props for Terrence Malick. I've liked a few Terrence Malick things. But I do intend to dive deeper into some of the Brian De Palma, Terrence Malick, and Scorsese films that I've still not yet seen. So there's quite a few of those back in the day. De Palma has a lot of older films. A lot of people hate Brian De Palma. I think he has some good movies, so I'm willing to give some of the ones that I've not seen a chance. Here's another dude here.
Hidden Life. Frankie D, $10.
No, here.
Oh. Paranoid syntax error, $25. Happy holidays. Happy holidays.
Thank you, Paranoid
Mr.
Syntax
Corn.
Error.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas, by the way.
Frankie D, $10. Hey Jay, Merry Christmas. Have you seen this movie, The Judge, with Robert DJ? He has a decent message. Also, how would a layman go about learning philosophy? I didn't have a good response to the question, is there good or good whatever God says is good?
The Judge with Robert Downey Jr. Is that an older movie or a new movie? Interesting. I'll have to check that out. I've not seen that. We need to write down these wholesome recommendations that people... And by the way, the chat has a lot too, so we'll look later through the chat.
Okay.
Coraline, I don't know if I would count that as wholesome. It's pretty dark, kind of mind control themes. So, I mean, Coraline is definitely a dark, esoteric movie, but I don't think it really makes the wholesome cut. And hold on. So, how would a layman go about learning philosophy? Well,
Go to his Discord.
you could start out in the Discord. We have a large PDF bank in the Discord. You could get some kind of introductory books on Plato and Aristotle and the pre-Socratics. A lot of philosophy is going to begin there. You can go back and listen to some of my talks on Plato, pre-Socratics, basic metaphysics of Aristotle. That's kind of the place to start. And then really the learning philosophy is just kind of working your way up through the church fathers period, what Augustine wrote about, what Athanasius wrote about. Then you get into the Middle Ages. Probably should learn the Eastern fathers too, some of their philosophy and thought, Maximus, Cappadocians. Then you get into the Middle Ages and you learn kind of basics about scholasticism, Latin medieval theology, Thomism, Aquinas, disputes with nominalists, the alchemists, etc. And then you get into Enlightenment, Protestant era, the empiricists. You learn Locke, Berkeley, Hume, and then you get up into German philosophers and idealists, the Kantians, Heidegger, Hegel, Schleiermacher, all those characters, Schiller. Schleiermacher's a textual critic, I know, but and then you get into the Nietzsche's and the existentialists and the postmodernists. So it's kind of like the best way to do it is to go historically, because everybody's commenting on the people before them. So philosophy is a 2,000 year plus conversation, 2,500 year conversation that's ongoing. So the best way to do it is to go back to the pre-Socratics, an ancient philosophy, and then move up into Plato and Aristotle, and up into the Stoics, and up into present day. I didn't have a good response to the question, is there good or is good whatever God says is good? I don't remember when you asked that. I mean, the Euthyphro dilemma has come up probably 20 times. And again, it's a little more nuanced than that with us, because that's framed as an either or according to Hellenic philosophy. And Orthodox theology doesn't submit God to a Hellenic metaphysic where God is identical to the good. So God is good, but God has other energies other than good. So it's a false dialectic that there's different goods. For example, there's creaturely goods and there's uncreated good. So you can't ask the question as if there is one type of good by which all things exist on a continuum of good. So I know that you feel like, because I think you've asked this question before, you feel like that's not a good answer. But the fact, and I'm not trying to be rude to you, but the question about learning ancient metaphysics will help you to understand that Christianity has a different metaphysic than the ancient philosophers, and so the Euthyphro dilemma doesn't really apply to us. Devi 113. You want to read that? I can't see what it says.
Still surprising to me how Sean Penn could ever make a movie like Into the Wild, surely wholesome in some ways, and even has some Christian themes.
Well, it's hard to make movies using archetypes and patterns, and all movies use archetypes and patterns that don't in ways reflect biblical themes. I mean, it's just almost impossible to get away from it. Even when you're doing Gnostic type stories, you still kind of have some of these Christianish elements. So part of that just has to do with, I mean, there's a limited number of stories that can be told. I mean, there's only so many. So he's got another one here.
Richard Linklater has wholesome films, most of all Boyhood, but also School of Rock, the Before Trilogy, and Me and Orson Welles.
He does have some wholesome films, that's true. Trying to think of the last one of the baseball team.
Boyhood, was that
was
the
not
one?
very good. that baseball team one, that was not good.
Was the Boyhood one where they filmed the boy from young to old? That was really good. Mm-hmm. That was a good idea too, and it's good that all the actors were on board with all the different phases.
It's funny because Alex was just talking about him and Kinko, and that's Scanner Darkly is a Richard Linklater.
Oh, okay.
So that's why. So he put Alex in Waking Life and in Scanner Darkly. Remember? Mm-hmm. And Alex was just saying, folks, it's surreal when Winona Ryder and Keanu Reeves come up and ask for your autograph. Folks, when they bring your DVDs to you and say, can you sign these, please? Long-time listeners, folks. Which is pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
Whoa. Are you saying I'm dialing it in?
Poor Keno.
I think he didn't want to do that movie.
I don't think he
That's
did
my
either.
fault.
And
That's
I
my
think that
conspiracy
was the
theory
meta
about
part
them.
of it in the video game.
What if I don't want to do this movie?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'll do it for $50 million.
Right?
He'll do it so no one else does it, or because they would just make somebody else Neo.
So we should write down these other Linklater films to do as well, because I've not seen Me and Orson Welles. Devi again.
Devi 226. Paris, Texas, and Lucky, both starring Harry Dean Stanton, are also part of my list. These films seem to be related to one another thematically and with Lynch's The Straight Story.
That is interesting. I mean, usually, David Lynch movies mystically connect to the other worlds that he makes in his other movies. So I wouldn't be surprised. Harry Dean Stanton was a strange character. He doesn't seem like he would be in many wholesome movies, but I've not seen Paris. So I don't know if you're just talking about Harry Dean Stanton movies or if you're calling those wholesome. Anyway, I don't know, but we will check those out too because I've not seen Paris, Texas.
The Pope of Swag, $5. You need to watch a Goofy movie. It is the best wholesome movie.
I'll pass on that one, dude. Even Jamie doesn't like Goofy. So.
I believe you.
I think
I'm
he's
sure
trolling.
Are you trolling? Because
his name's a Pope of Swag, dude.
I really hate Goofy a lot.
I think he's trolling.
Goofy is the worst.
Do this one.
Okay, Cinder, $10. Would you have any interest in working on films with the right kind of team subject matter?
Yeah. Duh, of course. I mean,
that'd be fun.
So there's a dude who I can't tell if he's joking or being serious. He's gonna get mad if I say this, but I'm just being honest. I can't tell if he's joking. There's a German dude, or maybe he's not German, but some foreign dude is like, "Hey, will you come be in this movie? I'm trying to get Guy Pearce to be in a movie." I'm like, "Yeah, sure." He's like, "I want you to play a what do you say, a Klaus Schwab type villain." Mm-hmm. And he's like, "Will you dye your hair blonde and have a goatee or a beard?" I was like, "You mean can I be Guy Fieri?" Yes.
Yes.
Will I bring the punishment and tyranny to Flavortown? Yes. Will you be a Guy Fieri villain? Mixing Klaus Schwab and Guy Fieri? Yes. And I'll do it even if he doesn't get Guy Pearce. I can't tell if this is real or not, but I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll be the villain in your movie. I'm always the villain, by the way. Every time I get cast on a play, yes.
Oh.
Remember I told you in West Side Story I was Bernardo.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
America. You may not see him.
That's a musical.
You will no longer see him.
You won't watch musicals with me.
I forbid you to see him.
But you'll be in one. That's not fair.
Squid sauce.
Okay, Squid Sauce, $1. Have you seen House of Gucci? Also, I'm new to this series, so what's your opinion on So Bad It's Good? Nick Cage films like The Wicker Man.
No, I've not seen House of Gucci. Jamie and I were talking about watching that. Maybe.
I'll watch it.
It seems like they're really liking these stories of crazy people and dynasties, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Jim and Tammy Faye Baker, and this is kind of the rage is to do these. And they did 2 on John Paul Getty. Remember 2 Getty movies? We watched those that were pretty crazy. That dude was evil. It was a mean man, a mean rich man. And then, but these aren't wholesomes, right? So,
Yeah, I will watch House of Gucci.
she'll watch that kind of thing. Now,
Wicker Man is great.
I don't know what you mean to this series. You're saying somebody has a series, so
He's new to your show, I think, to this series. So what's your opinion on So Bad It's Good?
Oh, I mean, we love Wicker. I love everything Nicolas Cage, totally. Like, not even ironically. I actually really like Nicolas Cage a lot. I've always liked Nicolas Cage. I grew up with Nicolas Cage. How can I not? I've been watching Nicolas Cage movies since I was a kid. Like, watching... my mom and dad loved... what's the Coen brothers, Nicolas Cage? From the
Las Vegas?
No. I
Raising
just went
Arizona.
blank. Yeah, Raising Arizona. My parents love Raising Arizona. So we would watch the VHS all the time. What else did I watch from Nicolas Cage? I've seen zillions. I've seen every
Con
Nicolas Cage.
Air.
I don't know. I mean, obviously he's in some bad ones, but yeah. I mean, who couldn't like Con Air? I mean, that's like great fun. The Rock. I mean, there's just too many. Even ones I'd never seen until last year, like Bringing Out the Dead. That was great.
He's making a meta movie about himself.
Yes, well, the weird part was he did an interview and he's like, I will not see the movie because it's not me, right? I mean, they're like, will you do it? Yeah, but the movie's not me. I don't act like that. That's not the real me. And I'm like, yeah, right. Come on, that's the real you, right?
Yeah.
Did you? So yeah, I think the Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent is a genius idea. I think it's great. Of course, I'm going to go see that. But I actually enjoy Wicker Man. I liked Wicker Man when it came out. I didn't even think it was stupid. When it came out, I went and saw it. I didn't know that it was an old horror movie remade. But yes, of course, 10 years. That was 10 years ago. We've dissected Wicker Man multiple times. I even did a whole analysis of the Nicolas Cage Wicker Man in my Nicolas Cage voice.
Were you wearing your Nicolas Cage t-shirt?
No, I was wearing my Hawaiian shirt.
Oh.
But no, I really like Nicolas. I've always defended people like he's a stupid actor. No, he's not. He's actually really good.
Yeah.
He won. You don't win an Academy Award if you're not any good. So he has taken dumb movies, but that doesn't mean he's a bad actor. He's really good. But he's also just a funny character. I don't know. I think he's a character. I like characters. And then, yes, I saw Pig. I liked Pig. I liked Mandy. I liked Color Out of Space. I mean, those are great. Anyway. Wholesomes? What else? There's another super chat. Read that one.
Frankie D, $5. Apologize to clarify. What I meant is that I myself did not have a good answer for the dilemma which was posed to me, which made me realize that I need to study philosophy. I've heard that question a few times, and I knew you would have a good response.
I just need to make a video on this topic because it comes up in the Discord like every month or two where somebody asks, what about the Euthyphro dilemma? So I'll try to remember to do that. I'm sorry, but it does come up so often that if there was like 5 videos of the top 5 frequently asked questions, maybe I should do that. I don't know. But anyway, that's my response to the Euthyphro dilemma. I'll try to do something on that later.
Popa Swag says, I'm not trolling. A Goofy movie is actually very wholesome.
Is that a cartoon movie? I don't even know.
Yeah, I believe you because I heard Goofy was a good single dad.
Okay.
But
I'll trust y'all on this one. I'm not gonna
still
say-
can't
I don't
stand
think
Goofy himself, the whole character, the old Goofy to the new Goofy. I think Goofy is stupid.
You know, even when it was too old, I was too old to like. So I always thought SpongeBob was really clever and funny, and so I was kind of like where they took that with Skittles. I didn't really appreciate that because I grew up with Ren and Stimpy, so I liked Ren and Stimpy. I always thought it was really creative and weird and funny.
Somebody just said, Frankie D, $3. Jay, are you planning to see the new Nicolas Cage movie Face On with RuPaul? Is that real?
I don't know. I mean, things are so crazy that could be a troll or a real thing. I don't know. I mean, Nicolas Cage has done so many straight-to-video movies that a lot of those I've never seen. So I don't know about all those, but... For some reason,
think that's real.
Okay, yeah, it's a troll. But, yeah, for some reason, they made it like... So back in the 2000s, right after... I'm trying to think of the last big... We watched it, whatever it was. The last like hit movie that Nicolas Cage was in, like early 2000s. And then the press went after him because they always go after people for stupid stuff, which is not real, because they love to destroy people in the press. Mm-hmm. And then when he started becoming an internet meme, it became a meme to say that Nicolas Cage was no good. Which is not true, because he's actually really good. But because he does these comedic roles, and then he became a meme, people saw him as a meme when he's actually, like, super talented.
And he was doing outlandish things, though, like marrying Elvis's daughter, and...
Right. Well, but I'm saying...
Buying pyramid graves, and...
Okay, but everybody in Hollywood does outlandish things. But
Didn't he buy a dinosaur bones?
Supposedly, yeah. An island or something, but... So he bought a bunch of crazy stuff, but who knows if that's even like PR? I don't know. Yeah. Sometimes people do this kind of stuff for PR, but what I'm trying to say is that so throughout the 2000s, people associated him with a meme, as if he also wasn't a good actor, which is weird. But then he chose a bunch of bad movies for a while, for whatever reason, to pay off debts or something. I don't know, but then it kind of like came out the other side to where in the last 5 years, he's actually been doing good movies that got good critical reviews. Mandy, I don't know if Color Out of Space got good critical. I liked it, but I don't know if it had good critical reviews. But the critics liked Prisoners of Ghostland. I thought it was weird. It wasn't it wasn't what I hoped it would be. It was okay. Critics liked Pig a lot, and he's good in that. Remember Pig? Mm-hmm. And I think Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent will be good. I expect the critics will probably like it. So it seems like he's making the right decisions. What do you think?
Yeah, and a movie that plays off of his character as himself will be good, because that's what people want to see. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They want to see Nick Cage as... I
think he wants to be seen as a talented actor, because he's always referring to vaudeville and like the intense study of acting and the serious and the problem is that it's like musicians who really want to be known for their technical skills, which is understandable, but the population knows memes. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that will be wildly popular because it's a meme-ish type of movie. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway.
So.
Santa Claus Schwab, great name.
No, G Galt 1776, $5.
Oh.
Off topic, but a while ago you analyzed a paper from Brzezinski which discussed teaching the public to worship the military. I couldn't find the paper. Where can I find that?
No, it's not Brzezinski. It's an unknown document that leaked in 1985 or 6, and nobody knows who wrote it or authored it. It was reported to be from a copier that somebody bought that was owned by Boeing or Raytheon. And so the copier had this white paper still stuck in it, and it's called Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars. It's super well known. I didn't say Brzezinski wrote it. I said it has some of his ideas. It sounds like somebody who was maybe a military general who went to work in the corporate world. That's kind of because it's somebody with engineering, Air Force, military experience who knows the corporate world. Nobody knows who wrote it, but that's what it sounds like. But just go read it. You can just Google Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars and the PDF will come up. So, a good question.
Santa Claus Schwab, $3. Just got here. Was picking up my lasagna dinner like Garfield. Have you done any extensive coverage on Michael Jackson's life?
Jamie has. Talk about Jacko.
Yeah, there's a chapter in my book Hollywood Mind Control.
Mm-hmm.
He's the last kind of profile that we did. We did Britney Spears, Beyonce, Lady Gaga, and Miley Cyrus, and Michael Jackson.
Yep. So if you get Jamie's books, there's a Jacko chapter.
So that one chapter was actually co-written by a friend of mine who was a super fan of Michael Jackson, who actually snuck into his house when it was unoccupied, the Neverland property, to get pictures and just
Did he make that YouTube video that went viral of the empty Neverland?
No.
Because I watched that whole video. That is weird. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't have an opinion on Jacko, like pro or con. I know everybody just thinks that, you got to choose a side. Like, I really don't know because I don't know. I mean, and I've read off and on about it. I watched a bunch of, remember the documentaries that came out like 3 or 4 years ago where there was the pro Jacko one and the anti Jacko one, right? Did you watch those?
No. And this article's written before that.
Right.
Which my friend who has a lot of Michael Jackson facts, he did not think that he was a child creeper.
Right. Now, I'm pro Prince.
Okay.
I'm a big Prince fan, and I say that because I think the Eliminate Confirm probably got rid of Prince.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think they got rid of Michael Jackson. I think
that's what I was going to ask you is, what do you think about Jacko? Do you remember when it came out, they were all talking about the doctor? They
Jackson
gave him
was one of the first victims of fentanyl because I think fentanyl was what they would give him in a baby's bottle. And they probably just OD'd him because it's super easy to OD on fentanyl. And
he would talk about the same stuff at times that Prince would talk about. Like Prince was talking about CHEMTRAILS.
And he would call like Tommy Mottola the devil, and he'd say they don't care about you, and he had
But Jacko also would talk about ritual magic and voodoo and hiring people to do voodoo spells. So I've always been like, maybe it's just nuts.
I think so.
Okay.
I think whatever happened to him in childhood made him a super musical genius, and also, like we were talking about Charles Dickens, he had a dark side.
I wonder if that was accurate. I mean, was Charles Dickens known to have some kind of mad genius dark side where he would
I don't know.
Shut his family out and scream at him and stuff?
Well, I mean, the movie acted like he had a habit of dismissing like employees when he was pissed at them. Doing things out of his temper.
Sure.
But Michael Jackson, I don't know. It's like,
you should go watch those documentaries and see who has the better case.
Because a lot of people are convinced after that when you're talking about that he was a creeper.
Right. That's what Isaac said. So Isaac did a whole Michael Jackson breakdown. Isaac Weishaupt, and he came to the conclusion. I think he did both sides, and he came to the conclusion that Jacko was a bad guy.
Well, whatever he was doing is inappropriate.
Mm-hmm. But it's interesting that, so even though he's gone, Corey Feldman said, who has talked about creepers, he never said that. He said that Jacko wasn't a creeper.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
So there's a lively debate.
Anyway.
There's one more. Hickory Dickory 86 $5. The Family Man with Nick Cage and Tay Leone is pretty wholesome. Yeah,
that came up earlier. So earlier on in the show, we mentioned Family Man.
Which I like that one because I said it's a Christmas Carol derivative because he has to confront his fantasies and his dreams and then wake up and take over his life in a better way.
Isn't the Bill Murray Scrooged pretty wholesome? We watched that last Christmas, and I liked it. There's some weird philosophical, deep stuff going on in Scrooged. I don't remember if there's any mature themes because it was a year ago. But I remember like, wow, actually that was a pretty good movie. Like Scrooge was better than I remembered it being. What do you think? What is that?
Home Alone.
Oh, Scrooged. What are you
I know.
Didn't you like Scrooged? That was good.
I did.
Okay. All right. Thank you guys so much. A lot of fun tonight. Be sure, and of course, if you want to keep your mojo, perhaps you've never had mojo, perhaps you are new to the domain of mojo and like to get some mojo. By the way, why were they talking about so much mojo in Matrix?
Keanu
They kept
lost
talking
his
about
mojo.
I lost my mojo.
I'm like, dude, you need chalk.com. Do they have that in the Matrix? No, they don't. So you don't want the red pill. You don't want the blue pill. You want the gray pill. I'm talking about that chalk pill, right? That's the pill that you want. The gray pill, right? You want that she legit to get that mental clarity. That mental clarity that Kinko said he didn't have.
I don't have my mojo.
He couldn't fly anymore, but
I can't fly anymore.
with chalk, you might be able to fly.
You will fly if you take the Tomcat 100 because that stuff is literal testosterone boosting. Look at that toxic masculinity coming out right now. You can hear the sound of toxic masculinity right now. That's it. And it's also, again, all rainforest sourced, all organic, 100%. If you're not looking for that kind of stuff, maybe you are of the feminine side of the species. This over here. This right here. Wearing a onesie. Then you want something perhaps like the Daily to include the missing nutrients, which are foods and soils lack. They're nutrient deficient, right? And guess what? Everything is 60% off at chalk.com. They are an awesome Bays Red Pill company. They're one of our big supporters. We love those dudes. They're good friends of ours. And we like them better than Tristan likes them. Tristan's always talking them up. But we love them more than Tristan. And Tristan, well, we like Tristan, kind of. But whatever.
I like Tristana.
Tristana, yes. Tristan, not so much. Exactly. So,
I like Elmo.
ooh. We're not going to go into that tonight. We've given Tristana such a hard time the last 6 months that I feel like I've hurt his feelings. We probably hurt his feelings. We probably need to do some hypno-regression healing therapy with Tristana. What do you think? We need to get him on and have a healing session.
Yeah.
Get Tristan on, have a healing session.
You need to do another show with him.
Yeah. Need to let him weep. Need to let him let the pain out in the stream so that he can feel better. But if you don't want to participate in the weeping session with Tristan, then what you want is chalk.com. Right? So get that chalk. 60% off. J60 is the promo code. Hope you enjoyed our overview of wholesome movies. We didn't want to do some crazy deep thing. We just want to have fun, talk about movies. That's it.
And Merry Christmas and Christ is born.
And also, if you're Orthodox, you get more Christmas. Boom. Christmas is coming up. It's not even Christmas yet, dude. Everybody else is like, well, it's Christmas. I'm like, it's double Christmas for me. And then my birthday comes early, so I get triple Christmas. My birthday's in January. Triple Christmas, bro. Can't beat that. Yes, thank you. Hope you enjoyed Wholesome Stream. Anything else?
No.
You can get signed copies of Jamie's book, by the way, in the shop at Jay's Analysis, as well as signed copies of my books, Esoteric Hollywood 1 and 2.